Welcome to the SwimSwam podcast. I'm your host, Coleman Hodges. Joining me today, we've got a very special guest. She is a 5-time junior world champion. She is our number 2 recruit in the NCAA recruiting class for the girls 2021. Please welcome Tori Huske. Tori, how's it going?
It's going well. Thank you so much for having me.
How are you doing today? What's been your swimming schedule as of the past couple weeks, couple months?
So, I'm going to start all the way back at when quarantine happened, it first started. So, initially, I think the first thing that was canceled was NCSAs, and NCAAs was also canceled the same day. And we still had practice that day. Everyone was really bummed about it. And it was just a really weird atmosphere because that's when we first realized that stuff would start closing down, I guess. But after all the pools shut down, initially I was really weirdly motivated. I remember I would do an hour and a half workout in the morning on the rower, and then on the rower and on the bike, 45 minutes each. And then I would do a weight workout afterwards. And then I would even go on a hike sometimes with friends, and I would also do hills and stuff. So, and I think sometimes I would do doubles too, but it depended on the day. But eventually I realized that if I did this much, I was going to get burnt out, and it was starting to feel a little less motivated, I guess. So I took a step back, and that's when I kind of established more of a routine. And so basically I would just do 45 minutes in the morning on the rower, 45 minutes on the bike, and then I would do my weight workout, which would probably take about an hour or so. And later through quarantine, I was able to even get a pool, and it was a small pool. It was someone's backyard pool, but I was really lucky to get that opportunity. And training in it was a little bit weird just because of all the flip turns and stuff. It was basically all underwaters and turns pretty much. So I did a lot of work with the bungee cord for the first time, which I don't know. I wasn't a huge fan of it, but I didn't hate it. It was just after a while, I feel it got very repetitive. But it's all right. I mean, I think I'm still going to incorporate it in my practices, maybe before meets and stuff in the future, but I'm not really sure yet. But I know I did that before my last time trial meet where I did some cord work beforehand. I don't know if I'm going to do it before US Open, but yeah. And then the pools opened up again. I started doing doubles. I'm doing doubles now. We have a weird format right now with the group where if you want to double, you can, but we also have rotating group time so that there's not that many people at the pool and that we can maintain a safe distance from each other. So yeah, that's kind of how the progression, I guess. That's kind of how it's been going for me.
Gotcha. Yeah, nice. There's a lot to dissect there. So first of all, you mentioned at the beginning of quarantine, you were on the rower for an hour and sometimes an hour and a half at a time. Had you ever done rowing before? I mean, that sounds really you're working it.
Yeah. I would go on the rower for 45 minutes, and then I'd go on the bike for 45. But
Okay.
I had never, I would do it sometimes on the weekends in the past, but I had never done it routinely. And I'm not a huge fan of the rower, but it's okay. I mean, I did it to stay in shape aerobically. I also would do days where I would sometimes run and do sprint work, but I absolutely hate running. I was not a fan of that. I would rather go on the rower and the bike any day. But yeah.
So, I mean, it sounds like you had a lot of options. Tell me about, when you first got back into that private pool, where you were, the shorter pool where you're doing lots of turns. How did that feel compared to not swimming at all? And then how did it feel to finally get back into more of your normal pool and practice schedule?
Yeah. So initially I think it felt really weird getting into like the small pool again, just to be able to be in the water again and actually swim. It wasn't super like difficult in the sense of like getting back in shape, just because I was already working out a lot, and it wasn't a huge transition because the pool wasn't that big. I don't remember how big it was, like maybe like 40 feet. I don't really remember how big it was, but I just remember it wasn't a huge pool. So the transition from that, the small pool to like from nothing to the small pool wasn't huge. And then also I feel like I kept in pretty good shape leading up to like when we got a normal size pool again. So honestly, the transition wasn't as bad as I thought it'd be. It's probably the same as like transitioning from like short course to long course season, like from like the tiny pool to a normal size pool. So it wasn't that bad. Yeah, I do remember like swimming like 200 IMs again for the first time in that pool, and I was like, this is really long. Like, I can't believe I've done this in the past. But yeah, I eventually it just kind of became the new normal, I guess.
Nice. Yeah, 200 IMs sound like a big item to tackle, but I'm happy to hear you did get back into it. And you mentioned cords, and your kind of takeaway was, I might use them in the future, especially before meets. What do you feel like the advantage was of using those cords? What do you feel like you did get from them?
Yeah. So I think the advantage that I got from them is that I was able to really like practice like high-rev and like faster tempo on it for shorter amounts of time. But when I go like longer periods of time on the bungee cord, I noticed that my form would start to like fall apart kind of, just because I feel like it kind of messes up maybe like my body position, especially when I breathe. So I would use a snorkel a lot when I would do fly with it, just because you're not moving forward, so you don't get that normal like dip in the water. You know what I mean? When you breathe. So it was just like I had to lift my head up really high to breathe, and I feel like it was messing me up a little bit. But so I feel like it's good for like shorter periods of time, but for longer periods of time, it kind of messed me up, if that makes sense. I don't know.
It definitely makes sense.
Good for High-Rev. Sorry.
Yeah. No. So High-Rev, what is High-Rev for Tori Huske? I mean, we know you've got some serious speed. For listeners right now who need a little more context, Tori Huske goes 21 in the 50 free, 4,800 free. She's 50 point in the 100-yard fly, 22.9 in the 50-yard fly. And that's just kind of scratching the surface. So when you say High-Rev, are you thinking about tempo? Are you thinking about body position, technique, all of the above? What is High-Rev for you?
It's tempo. I've been working on tempo a lot more recently too, in my like freestyle and even fly, and back in a little bit of breast with Evan lately. So yeah, it's just about tempo. We also do this other drill sometimes. I don't know if we would call it a drill, but it's called like a cycle set. And it's just like, we do these a lot, like sometimes when we're warming up, like it's like a 25 long and strong, then a 25 built to High-Rev. And we do this thing called like scuttlebug at the end. Like as you get faster, you're like, it's not about technique. It's just about like towards the end, just getting your tempo up and like warming up. So it's just like you swim kind of like that at the end. But yeah, just like practicing like a faster tempo and like what you would do during a race. The scuttlebug thing is like exaggerated, but for the cords, it's like, yeah.
Yeah. Do you use a tempo trainer? Does your coach tell you a certain tempo you need to hit? Like, do you know what tempo you're going for, or do you just try to swing your arms as fast as possible?
Normally Evan will tell me what tempo I'm going for, and then we'll do a couple 25s or so until I'm able to like hit it pretty consistently, or at least like come close. So
Yeah, definitely. Nice. So now that you are back into kind of a more normal routine of things, what you said you're kind of doing doubles. What has that training looked like in terms of like yardage you guys are doing? Is it normal? Is it more than normal, less than normal? What have the last couple of weeks looked like?
I would say it's about normal. Like maybe not normal for the September season, just because we never had our like championship meet in the summer. So normally we'll have a break after that. But since we had like all of quarantine, we never really got a break. So I feel like we were going into September like in better shape than we normally would. So the distance and the mileage was like what we would have normally done like throughout the year instead of what we would normally would have done in September. It's like a little bit more than what we would have done in September, but it's like normal for what we do during the year. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. So, I mean, obviously we just mentioned it. You've got some High-Rev, you have elite level 200s as well. Are you someone who trains more, short stuff and sprintier stuff and speed stuff? Do you do a lot of mid distance and distance in practice, or is it a good combination of both?
I would say that normally I do more mid distance. Whenever we break up into groups during practice, I always choose mid distance instead of sprint or distance. Just because I feel like it really helps in being like a well-rounded swimmer, and then like just like developing a base too for your other your longer events. And I think it helps with the shorter events too. But normally I feel like the practices are more like mid-distance based, just in general. We do a lot of IM work too, which I like. So yeah.
I just talked to another top recruit, Tim Connery, and it's Swim Mac, and he told me, he said something I'd never heard before. He's like, well, I don't have like any stroke could be my best stroke. Like within the period of 3 months, it kind of switches. And he talked about how he really enjoyed being a well-rounded swimmer, kind of having all four strokes. Is that something you value as well, kind of working on all four strokes?
Yeah, definitely. I think that I mean, I try my best to be a well-rounded swimmer. I mean, my breaststroke and backstroke definitely need a lot of work, but I mean, it definitely improved a lot in my backstroke over the years. Like it used to be my worst stroke, and now I would say it's probably like my second worst, but but it's still improved a lot over the years, and I've worked hard on like my form and technique. So yeah. And also it's important just for like the IM and like being able to stay competitive in that. So
Let's shift gears a little bit, to your 2019 as a competitive season, as a competitive year. Heading into 2019, I guess let's talk about, the high school meets you had. Did you feel a real shift in the way you were approaching training, approaching racing, coming into the year of 2019?
no, not really. I've been in the same group for since like freshman or eighth grade year. I don't know, one of those. But I've been in the same group for a long time, and I feel like the training has stayed like mostly like pretty consistent. It's just like the intervals that you go on throughout the years. Like there's like different like subgroups within the group, and like you can choose different intervals for different sets based on what you need, kind of. And so I feel like the training has stayed like pretty consistent. Yeah.
Okay. And heading into, let's see, I think it was your regional championships, the 6A regional championships. You really had a meet that certainly for us at SwimSwam kind of turned our heads and was like, whoa, seems like you did really well there. How did you feel about that meet, heading into it, certainly about how you were going to perform?
I think I felt pretty good. We usually we don't really taper usually for like high school meets, but we'll do like a rest beforehand, like a 3-day rest or so. I'm not someone who needs a really long taper though. I usually taper like when it's like a big meet just for like a week. So 3 days for me is usually I'm able to like swim pretty fast off of that. So I mean, I felt pretty good. I felt rested, I guess, going into it, and I was just excited to swim. So yeah.
What does the high school experience mean to you personally? Virginia obviously has got a pretty fast, pretty competitive high school realm. But what has your high school experience been like?
It's been fun. It's nice, like seeing your your like classmates and all your friends from school, like at the pool, it's kind of like different. Like there's a whole different group of people than who you swim with at club. So I think it's really fun just to like get to know more people, and yeah, it's a really good like team environment too, like at states and stuff. Like I feel like there's so much energy at the meets and there's so much cheering, and it's always really exciting. So
yeah. So going from that high school experience to NCSAs that year, how do you feel like you were able to carry over that momentum heading into Orlando?
Wait, for last year?
For 2019.
Okay. I honestly, I don't really remember like much from that meet. It's kind of a long time ago, but I think that I felt fine. I mean, usually my 1 week taper works out pretty well. I don't know.
Usually taper works out, and that's cool. That's totally cool. To give our listeners some context, 2019 NCSAs, Huske took titles in the 100 IM, 100 free, 200 free, 50 fly, 50 free. You placed fourth in the 200 fly and 200 IM as well. You were second highest individual female point score at the meet, 212 points behind Phoebe Bacon. And so let's heading into the summer of 2019, you head into the national championships after having, a very solid short course season. First of all, do you prefer short course or long course?
I like long course. I like racing long course just because my turns are not the best. So yeah.
Okay, fair enough. And so I guess training wise, do you also prefer long course?
Yeah, I do like training long course. I think it's really fun. I don't get to train it that much though. So I don't know. I don't know. I guess probably long course, but I don't have like a huge preference.
Gotcha. So, you said you don't get to train it that much. Tell me about your long course situation. Like in the summers, are you able to train long course every day, or are do you guys have access to a long course pool at all?
Normally, I'm able to train long course pretty much every day in the summer, but this year with Corona, we didn't have access to our long course pool, so we swam in a short course meters pool throughout the entire summer, and we just like rotated at throughout different summer league pools, and they're all short course meters. So, but I started training 1 time a week long course this summer just so that I could get some practice and for that, and kind of maintain more endurance, kind of, I don't know, so that I wouldn't die as much when I do swim long course and race long course in the future. And I started training with Chris Natoli's group on NCAP, and Evan knows Chris, and they both coach together at Dowden Terrace. So, and I would just like I would go on to practice with them on Wednesdays when it was their race day, so I could just kind of practice racing long course, because I feel like that's I knew I was going to have a time trial of some sort in the future, so I was trying to get prepared for that. So that's what I did during the summer. I practiced 1 day a week long course, some days, some weeks I didn't get to, but yeah.
Some days, some weeks I do long course.
Yeah.
Nice. So that I want to dissect that. You swim on Arlington Aquatic Club with your coach, Evan, as you've mentioned. You said you've been in that group since 8th or 9th grade. What has been such a good fit for that, for you in that group, especially, considering when I think of Virginia swimming, obviously I think of NCAP. It's such a big club, such a prominent club. What has been so good for you about swimming at Arlington?
I would say the people and like the coaches. The coaches all really care about the swimmers, and I feel like they all bring something really like fun to the group. Like Matt, one of our coaches, he's always the one who's like cheering and getting excited and like pumping everyone up. And then Evan, I feel like he like helps more with like technique, and he's like he can like stabilize people. I feel like he's like pretty constant, like with his emotions and stuff. So like, if you have like a good day or a bad day, or like same with like a good race or a bad race, he never gets like too up or down. He's pretty constant. So he's able to like stabilize you kind of. And then also all my teammates, like I really love them. So yeah.
Nice. And so then, you said you were able to go to NCAP on Wednesdays for their race days sometimes, and train with them. What was that like? Do you remember any of the specific race days you were able to do? And what was it like competing with their team?
It was different. It was a little bit weird at first because I didn't really know anyone. Um, but overall, I would say the people there were really nice, and the race sets were always really fun. Like I always really love racing. I think that's one of the main reasons I swim, just because I love to race and like compete. They had some fast people in that group too, so I would always get really excited to race against them, especially since I feel like it's different from the people who you get to race all the time. Like it's not as like special, but when I had like this new like change, like at least like just like every once a week, it was like new and different and exciting, and I would actually get like super pumped up to race them. So
Yeah. I mean, I think if COVID has taught us anything, it's that, you throw something new into the routine, and a lot of times it can have a positive effect. Do you remember any of the specific race sets you did, or did you have a favorite?
I do remember. I don't remember the specifics, but I do remember I raced like 100 long course fly a few times, like 2 IM. I don't remember the times, but I do remember. I don't remember the times for all of them, but I do remember I swam a couple like 100 flies, like from a dive, like off the side because they don't have blocks, and I went like a minute. So I was like really excited at the time about that.
That's 100 fly off the side in a minute. That seems pretty good. Um, so I digress a little bit. So you're able to race long course a little bit this season. Let's take it back a year. You're heading into 2019 national championships, Palo Alto, Stanford, your future home. What were your thoughts, expectations? How are you feeling heading into that meet?
I remember my main goal of that meet was to qualify for like junior worlds and go to Budapest. I was really hoping I could do that. So I think that was my main goal for the meet. My expectations, I don't really know. I don't remember the specific times I was going for, but yeah, my main goal and my main focus was just Budapest. And I remember the year before, I really wanted to make, I think it was Pan Pacs. It was the meet in Fiji, but I didn't quite make it. So this year I was like really determined.
Dude, yeah, I still think it's kind of ridiculous to have a meet in Fiji. It's like way too nice of a place to have a swim meet, but I digress. So you make the team in Budapest in 3 individual events, 50 free, 100 free, 100 fly. Tell me about your experience in Budapest. What was your first big meet with the junior team like?
It was so much fun. Like everyone there was just like everyone there was just so nice and welcoming, and I feel like everyone really like got along. And I feel like USA Swimming does a really good at setting the tone kind of what's like expected from their athletes as far as like cheering and just like the environment and stuff. And like it really helps to make like a cohesive team, I feel like. But everyone there was just so nice, and like I feel like we had a lot of fun just like being together in this new country together. So
Yeah. Do you have a favorite memory, a favorite race from that meet? Again, just to add a little context, Tori won 6 medals at this meet, 5 of which gold. She won the 50 fly, 100 fly individually, silver in the 100 free, 3 gold medals on relays. Yeah, do you have a favorite memory or a favorite race from that meet?
I don't know about favorite race. I think that the mixed relays were super fun just because I had never been in real like mixed relay before. Like we've done them like at our club meets, and they're fun, but like I feel like it's completely different when like just like the atmosphere of like doing this at a big championship meet. Like I'd never done that before, and it was so like exciting and like kind of scary to race against the guys too and a real meet. So that was super fun. And then also I think that one of the like really special moments was like when you got to like stand on the podium and you would hear like the national anthem play. I thought that was really cool. And like you got to see like the flag raised too. That was really special.
Did you, when you were on the mixed medley relays, were you going up against boys?
I think that Andrei Minikov was swimming like 100 fly against me. I remember, I think, yeah, in one of the mixed medleys. So that was kind of scary.
That is kind of scary. Ironically, you were both going to Stanford as well. Do you remember what that was like at all? Or did you just put your head down, try to get to the wall?
Yeah, I just focused mostly on my race, but I do remember I could like feel like a lot more waves than I normally could.
That makes sense. And that also, yeah, what an interesting experience to have that mixed gender race, you know, in the highest form of competition. So let's talk about Stanford and your recruitment. You know, and I'm going to preface it with this. It's so interesting how the recruitment process has changed now. You know, as sophomores, most kids are looking at schools. When their junior year starts, they already have a pretty good idea of when, you know, of when and where you would like to go to school. You know, you recently committed this past summer, and as heading into your senior year, that's almost a rarity now. You know, when you wait until the end of your junior year, people are almost like, wow, that's pretty late to commit. But tell me about your recruitment process and why you did ultimately go with Stanford.
Okay, so I started my recruitment process like pretty early, and I went on my trips just like everyone else like normally does around the same time. So I think I finished all my visits by October. And I remember, I think one of the things that really stuck out to me about Stanford is I remember watching them do circuits in the weight room. And if they like messed up, they had like different like stations that each person would go to. And they would have to do it for a certain amount of time. And if they messed up, then they'd have to like restart it or go backwards a spot. So it was like really difficult. You could tell that like you could just tell it was like people were like struggling because it was really difficult. But everyone was so positive, and you could just tell that this is like what they normally do. Like you could tell that they were genuine, and they were always no one ever like complained during it, and they just kept a really positive attitude, and they like really lifted each other up. So I thought that was really great, and that's one of the things that I remember most, like from like looking at the team. And then I also just chose Stanford. Just because like it had everything I was looking for. I felt like, so like obviously like the team, you could just tell that they were genuine and that they really supported each other, and I was looking for that. And I feel like I connected with them too. And then also, I mean, obviously, like academically, like it's one of the best schools in the nation. And then also, like Greg and Tracy are both really good coaches, and they've just had a history of like producing really fast swimmers. So I feel like it just had everything I was looking for. I actually like unofficially like committed, kind of not committed, but I decided I was going there after all my visits, like in October, but I wasn't like officially committed until I got accepted and I applied. And I think I applied in at the very end of the school year. Well, once my transcript was in, so then it was like official, but I had already like mentally kind of decided that I was going there beforehand.
Was that a was that a hard process? Like not being able to say, oh, this is where I want to go, like a lot of your peers, for like 8 months.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't super difficult. I feel like a lot of my teammates found out like really fast, like the next day.
They're like,
So
we know.
it wasn't like it just like happened kind of like I wasn't even like, yeah, I don't know. It kind of just like spread. So it wasn't like super secretive, I guess. I don't know. I just wasn't announcing it yet to the public.
Makes sense. Which is awesome. I think that's a sign that you have really great teammates. They obviously care about you enough to let everyone else know where you're going, but not care about you enough also not to tell anyone outside of the team, which is great. So speaking of your team, do you have a favorite set you've ever done? Do you have a practice that sticks out to you in terms of, wow, that was a really good day for me. That was a really great set. That was an awful set, but I'll remember it forever.
Yeah. I don't really know. I don't really know about a favorite set, but a set that we do like annually is the Christmas tree set. And last year we had to do it long course and it was absolutely terrible. It's just you do like a 25 fly and then a 50 and then a 75, then a 100 fly and then a 100 fly, 25 back, all the way up to a 4 IM and then back down. And since we had to do it long course this year, it was terrible because we had to stop in the middle and tread water. And then also just like long course fly, like the mileage on that like really adds up. So it wasn't the most fun thing in the world, but yeah.
So do you end at a 400 IM, like you don't have to come back down, right?
No, you go up to a 400 IM and then you come back down, but you don't repeat the 400 IM twice in the middle.
Oh, wow. And so when you're coming back down, do you take off the fly first or do you take off the free first? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's so much butterfly.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, no, that does really add up. Holy moly. And so what is it all fast? Do you descend? Are the intervals kind of, do you get some decent rest or are you just going the whole time?
It kind of depends. I feel like the intervals aren't terrible, but I feel like it just feels like you're continuously swimming. You don't get that much rest, so yeah.
Man, yeah, that sounds like a doozy. Wow. So to wrap up our conversation here, tell me about your next couple weeks, next couple months. What have you got in mind? You mentioned US Open earlier. What are your goals in the short term, and also what are maybe goals leading into Olympic trials if that's still on your agenda as well?
Yeah, I don't really know yet, like exactly what I'm doing for US Open, like what events. I'm not 100% sure what I'm swimming. I think I might swim like 100 back, which I've never done before at a national meet. So that's kind of fun and different.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that, but I'm not really sure yet what my goals are. I'm just gonna try to swim as fast as I can and see where I am at this point. With Corona and stuff like that. I haven't had like a real meet kind of in a really long time. Like I've had a time trial recently and then we had a meet, but the time trial was kind of weird. Like it was just me and 3 of my teammates. And then there's another team in the other half of the pool who was doing a normal practice.
Oh, okay.
So we were like suited up, but there's just like another team that we didn't know, just like swimming normally. So it was a little bit awkward, but I mean, it went pretty well, I would say. Like I mean, like I got what I needed out of it, like just to like see where I am and stuff. And then we had like another team meet recently, but I feel like there was only like 10 minutes between some of the races, so I don't really know. So it's gonna be nice just to like see where I am in like a real meet setting kind of. And then for trials, I don't really know. I just place, I guess, as high as I can and like hopefully final. So
Okay, 2 more questions and then I'm done, I promise. Do you remember what times you went at this time trial? Did you said you felt good about just racing again. What events did you swim?
I swim 100 fly, 50 free, and 2 IM. In that order. My 100 fly was pretty good. I think I was right around my best time. I can't remember. I think I did get a best time, but it was like by a couple hundredths or something. I don't remember like my 50 free. I think it was also like right around my best time. I think it was my best time. But normally whenever I swim 50 free in a meet long course, it's always right after the 2 IM. Like,
Okay.
I think it is this year too.
Yeah.
I'll probably be swimming both of those. So, I feel like my best time for that, like I knew I was capable of going faster. So, and then my 2 IM, that was really bad. It was like the third event in like an hour though, so it's okay. But yeah.
And that was long course. That was all long course. Okay.
Yeah.
And so just heading into trials, obviously, it's a ways away, versus just where you're at right now versus maybe a year ago, 7 months ago when coronavirus started. Do you feel kind of confident that having another year to kind of get better, stronger in the water heading into those Olympic trials?
Yeah, I think that this year is kind of like a blessing in disguise. I don't want to like, I don't know. It still sucks like for everyone.
Yeah.
Corona is obviously not something I would have like wished for, but I mean, I'm trying to like look on the bright side of things as much as possible. Like, I think it will help me, like just having another year of training under my belt, and like, especially since I just started weight training and like doing strength training for the first time last year, probably around this time. So I think that having another year of that will really help.
Nice. Well, Tori, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down and talk with me for a little bit. It was really great getting to hear your swim stories.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
You've been listening to the SwimSwam podcast. Stay tuned for new episodes every week. You can take SwimSwam podcast on the go by subscribing on your favorite podcast platform. Look for links in the description below, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos as well.